We're speaking with State Senator John O. Jones, and this is the first question I asked Senator Luchtefeld a few moments ago. Have you spoke with Frank Watson, and how is he doing? Give us a status update.
You know, I have not spoken to Frank. You know, every day you think, well, I'm going to pick up the phone and call Frank, and then you know everybody else is doing the same thing, and
sure.
And here he is trying to go through rehab and recover. And you know, my concern is that Frank recovered 100%, and everything I'm hearing is that his doctors and the therapists all say that he will recover 100%. But I think he doesn't need all of us bothering him. So, you know, Senator Luchtefeld is very close to Frank also, and he's visited with him at different times. So I've been just relying on Senator Luchtefeld to keep me informed of where Frank's at. And so, you know, everything we hear is good. You know, I think Frank just needs to take his time, not rush to get back up here. You know, he doesn't have to be here this week. He doesn't need to be here next week even. He can wait till January and come up and hopefully be back to 100% when he comes back.
Definitely. Thoughts and prayers with him. This fall veto session is a little bit different because you guys dealt with most of the vetoes over the summer.
Right.
So what's the priorities in this veto session? What do you hope to get done or hope you see get done?
You know, I really don't see any priorities as far as vetoes is concerned. As you said, we've dealt with almost every veto that we really need to deal with. There are a few minor ones that we'll deal with while we're here. But I think the big thing this week is, because the Senate's the only one that's in this week, the House is canceled this week, but I think we're jockeying around to see who the leaders are going to come out of the Republican and the Democratic caucus both, who's going to be the Republican leader of our caucus. You know, we've got 2 or 3 people that's in the running for that, and so we're going to be able to sit down together up here rather than doing it on a phone. We can all sit down in the same room and look at each other and ask the questions we need to ask, and hopefully get the answers we want, and then move forward as our caucus. And the same thing with the Democrats. I mean, they're having a dinner tonight at Saputo's, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going to try to finalize who they're going to pick to be the president of the Senate. You know, my hope is that you know, maybe a downstater, Senator Claiborne. Regardless who it is, we're going to try to work with that person. I think the key to the next president of the Senate is, will that president have enough gumption to stand up and say, Governor, this is a new day in Illinois. We've run things your way for the past 6 years, with Emil Jones going along with you on almost every issue. And the new president saying, I'm going to go over to the Republican leader in the Senate caucus. I'm going to go to the House floor. I'm going to see the Speaker and the Republican leader there, Tom Cross. And we're going to put our heads together. And we're going to try to turn this state around and balance the budget here. And if you want to be a part of that, fine. Step on the train and go with us. And if you don't, get out of the way, because we're going to do it without you. And I think that's the kind of leader we need to pick, not only as the president of the Senate, but as a Republican leader also in the Senate.
There's no doubt that Republicans in Illinois, we're talking about obviously Illinois Senate, we're speaking with John O. Jones, and you're one House rep away from Democrats having a supermajority there, and it's already that situation in the Senate. Is there anything you see that needs to be changed, or something more? This is more of a broad party type question. What's the Republican Party need to do to win back some of these seats and get some balance back here in the Capitol building?
Well, I think first off we have to concentrate on our base. You know, we've got a core base out there that's always going to vote Republican, and I think some of that core base is thought that the Republicans have strayed away from that a little bit with some of our candidates the last few years. You know, not only U.S. senators candidates, but congressional candidates, even some of our state candidates that we've strayed away from that. You know, our next Republican leader may not be a pro-life person, it may be a pro-choice person, but that person, whoever that person is, has to look at the state of Illinois, as you said earlier on in our conversation before we started recording. You have to be able to see the skyscrapers and the cornfields both in the state of Illinois, because this is a very diverse state, and I think that leader has to be a diverse person and understand that there's different concerns in southern Illinois as there is in northern Illinois, the Connor counties or Cook County, and I think that's what we're going to have to do is to try to bring more people in. You know, We don't have to give in to everything that the Democrat Party wants to do. This, and we see right now that the courts are stopping the governor on his health insurance programs that he's created without legislative approval. The courts are sending a message to him that he can't do this. He needs our approval in order to do these things. And so hopefully the general public is going to look at this and say, the Democrats haven't been doing a very good job of governing this state. Look at the hole we're in right now. I mean, for 3 or 4 years, all we heard out of Governor Blagojevich is George Ryan left him a $5 billion hole. Mm-hmm. Well, it's much worse today than it was 6 years ago when the governor first took office. And it's because they have created new programs without funding to pay for them. So they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and that's what we have to do as Republicans, say, hey, we've got a better idea, and here's how you implement it, and we will move forward with that. And I think we need to get up on the floor when they're wrong. We need to address it as they're wrong on the floor with whatever legislation they're trying to pass. And when they're right, hey, I don't have a problem with patting somebody on the back, regardless of what politics they are, and say,
sure,
hey, they've done the right thing here.
You mentioned the governor a minute ago, and several people recently have been indicted. Bill Cellini, who's a longtime Springfield guy, Ed Verdoliak has pled guilty, and you have to assume Tony Rezko is cooperating with federal authorities. What's your thought on all of those things that are swirling around the governor right now? Do you think he'll make it to 2010 as the governor of Illinois?
Well, I think he may make it to 2010, but I think if he's, and he's throwing out there right now that he's done a great job of governing, that he thinks he may ought to run again for governor, I think he'll find out in 2 years that he doesn't have the support out there to run again. If he does run, he'll be beaten in the primary. But, I would not want to be in the governor's position right now with all these people that he's made close contact with over the last 6 years or so. Whether they all go to jail or not, I don't know. But he ran that 6 years ago that, hey, he saw what happened with George Ryan. He knew what was coming down with him, and he said, I'm going to clean up government, and he's done just the opposite, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. The state needs a capital bill, but number one,